Hello and welcome into the RotoWire Esports Show. I am Andrew Laird, joined as always this week by DFS Chan. I believe this is actually my last day this week. Ethan's coming back tomorrow, so apologies to all those who were so happy to see Ethan gone,
No.
but he will be back tomorrow. Chan, we have a really fun slate if you like close matchups for this Saturday one, but for Friday, I have to say you absolutely nailed KT yesterday, both in how they could score really well and just how god awful DRX is.
Yeah, DRX is bad, really bad. They might be one of the worst teams in one of the four major regions. I think we joke about in the LCS here in the United States, Golden Guardians is the worst team, but I think DRX actually might be worse than them. I mean, they were pathetic. I think whoever plays against them will win. I don't know if they will necessarily score well like KT did, but yeah, I mean, yesterday we liked the pace that KT has played with so far in the split. So it looks like that the long stack KT was in the optimal lineup today. So
yeah, and unfortunately we got a vintage top esports performance against LGD that for those that combine those two, congrats on sharing the top prizes there.
Yeah, top's coming along again. LGD definitely had game 2 in the bag and then they blew it. So I think it would have gone to game 3 and who knows what would have happened there. But yeah, I mean, top looked good. Now kind of, with that new top laner more integrated. So we'll see what happens with them. But I think they're going to surge up the standings again. But yeah, I'm not too worried about LGD. I think they still showed up well, and I think they're gonna make the playoffs this split. And then in the other LPL matchup, I mean, Victory 5 and Thunder Talk. I mean, it's Victory. I mean, they were both really bad throughout the game, but Thunder Talk was a little more consistent, and I think Victory 5 is probably gonna be the worst team in the LPL this split. So
wow, okay, all right. Let's jump into this Saturday slate. We've got a 5-gamer, which is always fun to have a little extra that we can look through. So we have WE kind of in a toss-up against Rare Atom. The LPL series are very close on this slate, so I don't think we're going to see some like overwhelming LPL chalk unless you convince me otherwise later. But we've got Afrika as an underdog against Gen G, obviously. BLG slightly favored against OMG. FunPlus Phoenix, our boys, actually favored against RNG. I was a little surprised about that one, although maybe it's right. We'll find out. And then Red Force pretty heavily favored against Fred at Brion, who doesn't get to play Gen G this slate, so we don't have to consider them, I guess. Damwon. Sorry, they Damwon. They I believe you said in the Discord the last time Fred at Brion beat Damwon that they just own them. There's no, we can't play this revenge narrative if one side actually just owns the other one.
Yeah, what an interesting slate. I mean, I think first of all, I want to open the analysis and begin the analysis saying that it's a great GPP slate. I think, in my opinion, all 5 matchups are close. I know that Gen G is a strong favorite, but soon, we'll talk about how Afrika, has been surging in the LCK this year, this split, and I think I am actually thinking that Afrika has a pretty good chance of upsetting Gen G. So, anyhow, I like this slate a lot. I think it really comes down to obviously who you think will win, and then the kill upside amongst them, because frankly, I think the kill upsides are very similar as well, except for the one LCK game that I'll talk about. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting slate, and yeah, we can delve into each individual matchup if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess otherwise, are there any other ones that you think the odds? I mean, I guess the LPL ones are such toss-ups that it's tough. If you like an underdog in that one, it's not really all that surprising, I guess, but they're close. But do you think the odds are pretty much right?
I think the odds are right. I would say Afrika should be less of an underdog, but I understand why the odds indicate this big favorite for Gen G, because they're undefeated and Afrika is not. And yeah, I mean, but I think they're all close matchups, to be honest. I think any underdog on this slate can win.
Okay, that's reasonable. And I mean, Genji doesn't always kind of jump out at us as a team we always want to target, but it seems like Afrika, I mean, they're the biggest favorite, and Afrika we've seen can play in some high scoring series. Does that give you any more thought that Genji might be able to pay off, or is it Afrika can actually get one by Genji there?
Yeah, my prediction on this matchup is I think Genji will win still 2-1. But I think it's going to be a very close matchup, and I think it might be a slow matchup in my opinion. I know Genji in the last series played fairly slow, and then Afrika, in their wins they tend to play on the slower side as well. And it looks like that Afrika versus Genji matchup ranks the second lowest amongst the 5 games that we have on the slate in terms of how slow they play. So, yeah, I mean, I like Genji for cash lineups maybe, but even then, I think Afrika has a decent shot. So I don't even know if they, would be, at consideration there. So
where is the first place we go for cash?
Yeah, for cash, I would say that's a good question. For cash, I think you just have to trust your eyes and trust the data and go with whoever you think will win. And I think, in my opinion, OMG has the best chance of winning, in my opinion. I know the BLG is the favorite here, but these are all so close matchups, but I just love OMG's recent form, and I just hate BLG's recent form. I know that BLG has been playing against some really top teams. I know they had a very tough schedule to start the split, but I mean, at times they just look horrible. And I know Zika and Aiming, their carries, have been playing not that great. And I know OMG, they're really hot right now. They're probably the hottest team on this slate. They're on fire right now, even though they had a bad split and the last bad season last season. So but I just love OMG in this spot. I know OMG tends to score very well when they win, and also the opponents tend to score well when they lose. So I love that matchup as my go-to matchup to garner the kill upside from there.
Yeah, I will say, just looking at this, the team stats from our cheat sheet, I mean, if you saw that and you were like, oh, BLG's favored over OMG, like, you wouldn't believe it, just because OMG averaging 3rd most kills per game on the slate of all the teams on the slate, and BLG's second from the bottom. And so, I think that gives us a pretty good underdog that we can play with any of the favorites, except we don't even there's not even like an obvious favorite we want to go to unless you're like really confident in Gen G.
I'm not. So that takes me away, off of Genji there. So, yeah, I mean, really, I think, like I said, OMG BLG matchup has tons of kill upside there. But actually, the game that has the highest projection in terms of kill potential is the FPX versus RNG. So, both teams play really fast. And as you guys know, both teams, are elite teams in the LPL and in the whole world. So it's a marquee matchup. And in the LPL, also in the LCK, when, 2 really elite teams match up against each other, they, tend to play on the safer side, and they try not to make, big mistakes that could be game changing. So that tells me they could play a little bit on the slower side. But even then, even with that notch down, I think, they're projected to score very well amongst the 5 games on the slate. So definitely I think you have to get a piece of this game, or the OMG versus BLG game, to go for that takedown in the GPP, I think.
Yeah, the toughest thing when you get 2 teams like this with FPX and RNG, like they play really well against everyone else. And so the stats look really good, and you're like, oh, the pace is really high. And some of that is because they can just blow some teams away. And when you have kind of a relatively level playing field with the 2 of them, then we can see them, not that they get like tight, but you're right. They played a little safer. And so sometimes that doesn't, that takes away from fantasy points sometimes. I still think I end up playing them. I mean, if you play OMG, I mean, you can play, if you did an OMG long stack, you could play one lineup with RNG and one with FPX. and basically, obviously both of them are not going to cash most likely, but that's, if you're usually a one lineup player, and maybe this is a slate where you just make two because the LPL series are so close.
Yeah. And yeah, I think you can play anybody here. On this slate, I know RNG is the biggest, the most expensive in certain spots. Actually, now I take a look at different positions on the DK pricing. It all varies based on.
Yeah, I was gonna say WE has some, and yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, that's an indicator as to it's going to be a close matchup for the slate that's filled with close matchups. So yeah, but yeah, just to go back to the FPX and RNG. FPX, even though they did not win the spring split, they were ranked, in my opinion, strictly based on data of the spring split. They were the best team in terms of like the team style, team play and individual skills and everything, the roster and all that. So yeah, I like FPX in this matchup, and even in this split, in the summer split. I know we talked about this, but RNG has come off of an MSI tournament where they struggled a little bit. I know they have come back and beat some bad teams in the last couple of weeks or so, but FPX has been has also showed a strong team play there for that team. I know they've been a little volatile in terms of team fights, but I think, when they go up against a good team like this, I think they'll show up. They'll be more motivated, because I think the spots where FPX looked volatile were against bad teams. So maybe it was just them, just underestimating the opponents there in those matchups. But against RNG, they know they have to show up. They know they have to, give the best ability they got. And I know they were mad in the spring split. So here's a little narrative. I know they were mad that they didn't get to, the MSI by winning the spring split. So I like FPX here. Maybe I'm bullish on them, so I'll go as far as they're going to win 2-0.
Oh, it's just a sweep. I love it. Got a comment here from Who's John Galt 420, said he just discovered the show. Thanks for doing it. Thank you for tuning in. If you just want to hit that like button below, we'd definitely appreciate that. So you had some positive things to say earlier this week about Nongshim Red Force. They're the second biggest favorite on this slate, but they're playing Fred at Brion, who plays like at a negative pace, basically, coming off a big win. Where do you put that? It feels like a total stay away, just because I'm not sure there are enough actual fantasy points in that one, but am I not giving them enough credit?
Well, first of all, yeah, I mentioned that earlier. The Afrika versus Genji, the other LCK matchup has the second lowest pace. Nongshim and Fred Brion has the slowest pace combined. So that tells me that it's not the game that you should target. But at the same time, yeah, Nongshim has been on fire. I know they just beat I think it was T1. 2-0 the other day. So yeah, they've been on the uphill, and they also tend to play on a little bit of a slower side. So going up against slow Brion, I think it's just not gonna be the matchup that I would salivate over. So yeah, Fred Brion, I don't think Fred Brion is even a GPP worth a GPP consideration, in my opinion, because they just have the slowest pace amongst 10 teams on the slate. So yeah, Brion is probably the first team that I would just scratch off from my stacking pool.
That was definitely going to be my next question, because it's like if there are plenty of reasons not to play them, that means people aren't going to play them, and so you have some sort of ownership leverage on there. But if on a 10-team slate,
right?
It's like if it was a 2-gamer, it's a much different discussion, because if they could win, then you get that one of two winning teams on that slate. But like on a big slate like this, it's just not a risk that's worth taking, I guess.
Right.
So how do you see this WE Rare Atom one? Like it seems like popularity wise, FPX and RNG should be popular because they're the two, best teams on the slate, basically. They happen to play each other, but and then if you like OMG, BLG's favored, So people, OMG's been scoring really well, and then I just feel like this WE Rare Atom series is just kind of, it keeps getting pushed down the ladder of like what we want to prioritize. And if people are going to ignore it, like whoever wins that one could be a really good scoring team.
Yeah, I agree. Except I only have it not prioritized as high as the other games that we just talked about, other LPL games, because I just think this game is going to be a slugfest.
Oh, okay.
I think slugfest in terms of that it's going to be a slower game than the data indicate, only because I just think Team WE and both Rare Atom in their last series, they didn't score very well. And I think they're going to, obviously they're going up against each other, and they know that they're, against good teams again, just like FPX and RNG. I think they're going to they're going to be inclined to play on the safer and slower side, in my opinion. But I think it's just like a similar matchup in terms of like kill upside, just like FPX and RNG going up against like two, good teams. But just overall, if you look at the data and even just the kills per game and deaths per game, you can see that top WE and Rare Atom have, the slower paces, compared to the other LPL teams. And maybe with the exception of BLG. And I know BLG has been slow too, but, I just like, I told Ethan the other day, but every time OMG's on the slate, that game's going to, blow up the slate. So I'm not going to miss my chances out, on that game again. But yeah, I mean, I just think amongst the three LPL games, that Team WE versus Rare Atom game is going to be the lowest in kills.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, not only do you get an opportunity to play OMG, but as an underdog, so you can kind of play them with whoever you want.
Right. But yeah, if I were to make a prediction, and if people want to play it, I mean, yeah, obviously, any LPL game can blow up. Because they just love the team fight. But it just, projections and data indicate that that's going to be a slower game. But yeah, if I were to make a prediction, I like Team WE. I know that, they look a little shaky in certain spots in the last couple series. And Rare Atom has shown that they can again compete against elite teams as well. I just love Team WE's bottom lane. I'm sure we can talk more about this, amongst the players who we should focus, but I love that bottom lane for WE, what used to be Jumang, but now Elk, going up against iBoy. I think it looks like to me so far in the split, Rare Atom goes as iBoy goes. I think they just try to put a lot of resources in iBoy, and that's their win condition. And I just think Team WE will neutralize that win condition for Rare Atom.
Okay. I like that. Are there any other players that we should be on the lookout for? Like, obviously, if you're going to, like FPX, we know who to play from FPX, but like, I guess it's really OMG that you were so fired up about. So where are we starting with OMG?
Yeah, it's an OMG slate. I love OMG. You guys can give me slack, flack if OMG loses. But yeah, if you were to play OMG like me, I would focus on Abel. Obviously, I think there was one game in 2 series ago where he scored like 13 or 14 kills and 0 death in just one game. I know that he can pop off, and then their jungler, Aki, he has been playing really well, and then actually their support, Cold. So obviously, I think Cold likes to play around Abel. I know some supports during the game like to go roam with their jungler and stuff, but he actually stays in the bottom lane with Abel. So obviously, if Abel does well, that their support's gonna do well too. Cold. So
yeah, sorry, I'm trying to sort this here by kill percentage to make it a little easier. So that's why we end up getting our Cold, Abel, and what was it, Aki?
Yeah, it showed. Yeah, as you can see, Cold has the highest kill participation percentage there for that team. Yep. So obviously, I think I like that pick. And in this split, not just the LPL or LCK, but around the world, supports kill participation percentage have suffered a lot in exchange for the top laners that we talked about. So that has kind of flipped a lot, that now the top laners have been getting involved in a lot of team fights. That's just how the game has changed, the new patch. But Cold, nonetheless, has been, participating in a lot of team fights. So I think he'll be a really good pick.
Okay. Are there any other, like, I feel like the priority is always kind of get the main carries for each team, but are there any other teams that you like where you think we should be prioritizing, a jungler or support or top laner?
Yeah.
And the answer can be no.
No, I like the FPX and RNG. I'm just thinking, I mean, they have that matchup features probably the two best top laners in the whole world with Nuguri and Xiaohu. I know Nuguri and Xiaohu, they like to, help their teams respectively in team fights and all. So I like those two guys. I know I was just thinking, I was paused there because if two top laners who are, really the best players, they could be the best players on their team go up against each other. And you don't really see that in the top lane often. So I just think, I mean, they're going to be involved in a lot of team fights. So either of those teams, if you pick RNG or FPX, I think in that matchup, you have to have a top laner from that matchup.
It's too bad they're playing each other because you could have just done a double top lane lineup to kind of differentiate yourself. But obviously playing against each other, you're not going to game stack on a 5-game slate.
Yeah, and if I were to pick an LCK team that might score well compared to the LPL teams, I know that's often the case that LPL teams score better. But as you saw from this morning, KT has scored the best, amongst the 4 teams or 8 teams this morning. So yeah, but on this slate, if I were to pick an LCK team that will score well, I think it might be Afrika. So. Ooh. If you think Afrika wins, I think Genji still wins 2-1, but I think Afrika has a really good shot and makes a really good GPP play. I think they're going to be sneaky GPP play if they win. And I think Genji, tends to play on the slower side, and that's why their pricing their pricing is so low amongst all the favorites. But I don't know. Afrika tends to play on a little bit of a faster side as well, compared to, like, let's say Fredit Brion or Nongshim. So I like that GPP play if you were to, just shy away from, the LPL teams and on the slate.
I love it. If anybody has any follow-up questions for Chan, I probably can't answer them, so I'll just make sure that Chan gets them. But you can find us in the RotoWire Discord, which is open for all subscribers. You can just go to rotowire.com/chat to get in there. If you are not a RotoWire subscriber and would like to try us out for free for 10 days, just go to rotowire.com/try. That's TRY. Gets you access to all the sports we cover, particularly with this esports stuff. This cheat sheet that we show in the video is available for every slate. So if you're playing LCS or LEC, we have those cheat sheets as well. So definitely check that out. If you have enjoyed this video, if you could please do exactly like Who is John Galt 420 did and hit the like button, we'd greatly appreciate it. And you can feel free to subscribe for all the RotoWire videos. Ethan, I believe we'll be back tomorrow, but Chan will definitely be back tomorrow to talk about Sunday slate. So Chan, thank you for making this week quite enjoyable for me coming back on this show.
Yeah, it was good having you, Andrew, and good luck, everybody. And go enjoy the OMG slate.